hanging out with the one and only Cameron Diaz! Now, Cameron, I thought it would be fun for us to play a game that I know you're going to be great at. It is called Slow Turn, Tiny Nod.
Slow turn, tiny nod.
Okay, the game is very simple. One at a time. While maintaining the utmost composure, we will very slowly turn our heads and look into the camera and do the tiniest head nod possible. Whoever does the tinier nod wins. And you're and you're not allowed to laugh. Cameron, since you're...
I don't find it funny.
You're my guest. That's already making me laugh. Since you're my guest, you'll be turning first. Are you ready? Are you in character? Whenever you're ready, can we dim the lights and you'll turn to camera one. Oh my God. It's a masterclass. It's a masterclass. Wow! It's a masterclass. All right. Very good. Cameron? Okay. Here we go.
Look me in the eye, Jeremy, before you go.
I know.
That's
I know.
only fair.
I know. It's
I
only
looked
fair.
you in
You
the
did
eye.
look me in the
I
eye,
looked
but
you
you're
in
a
the eye.
pro. Okay. Here we go.
It was just like a really big nod.
I'm exhausting. That was a tiny nod.
That was like
I have a
gigantic
big head. I have a
nod.
big head. That is tiny for my size head. It's a tiny nod. But here we go. We're going to raise the stakes a little bit in round two.
Well,
round two, you...
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we are talking about Cameron Diaz and Jimmy Fallon, and they played one of the most ridiculous, intense, and hilarious games I have ever seen on The Tonight Show. It is called Slow Turn, Tiny Nod. And the rules are simple. One at a time, while maintaining the utmost composure, you slowly turn your head toward the camera, and you do the tiniest head nod possible. Whoever does the tinier nod wins. You are not allowed to laugh. Cameron Diaz said she would not laugh because she did not find it funny. That made Jimmy laugh immediately. So off to a great start. Cameron went first. The lights dimmed. Dramatic music started playing. Cameron stared straight ahead. She took a breath. And then she began to turn. Slowly. Incredibly slowly. It took her about 10 seconds to turn her head. The audience was silent. The music was building. And then she did the nod. It was so tiny you could barely see it. It was a masterclass. Jimmy lost his mind. He said, "It is a masterclass. Wow." The audience cheered. Cameron had set the bar impossibly high. Then it was Jimmy's turn. He looked Cameron in the eye. He took a deep breath. The lights dimmed. The music started. Jimmy began to turn. He was trying to be serious. He was trying to be intense. But you could see him fighting back laughter. He turned his head. He did the nod. But his nod was not tiny. It was a full head bob. Cameron immediately called him out. "Jimmy, that was just, like, a really bye. G-nod. That was, like, a gigantic nod." Jimmy defended himself. "I have a big head. That is tiny for my size head." The audience laughed. Cameron was not convinced. Then came round two. Jimmy raised the stakes. "Now, you have to turn your head even more slowly, look into the camera, flare your nostrils twice, and then do a tiny nod." Cameron admitted she did not know how to flare her nostrils. She said she would do something. The lights dimmed. The music started. Cameron turned her head at an agonizingly slow pace. She looked into the camera. She did something with her face. It was not a nostril flare. It was more of a whole face scrunch. but it was impressive. Jimmy was in awe. I do not even know if I could do that. I like that face. Then it was Jimmy's turn. He got into character. The lights dimmed. The music started. Jimmy turned his head. He tried to flare his nostrils. He looked like he was trying to sneeze and hold it in at the same time. He did the nod. The audience applauded. Cameron said, "That was hard." Jimmy agreed. Then came round 3. The final round. Jimmy made it even harder. Now, you have to turn your head even more slowly, look into the camera, make the tiniest sound you can possibly make, and then nod. Cameron said it was going to take a long time because she had been taking a long time already. Jimmy joked that they were going straight into the Today Show. A 24/7 sleepover. The lights dimmed. The music started. Cameron began to turn. This was the slow West turn yet. Her head moved millimeter by millimeter. The audience was holding their breath. The music swelled. Finally, she was facing the camera. She opened her mouth. She made the tiniest sound. HM. It was barely audible. Then she did the nod. The audience exploded. Jimmy said, "There is no topping that. That is how you do it." He declared Cameron the winner. She asked if that counted as a noise. Jimmy said, "You go, who?" Cameron corrected him. HM. The audience laughed. Jimmy threw to commercial. What makes this game so brilliant is the commitment. The game is absurd. It is turning your head and nodding. That is it. There are no points. There is no winner. There is no prize. But Jimmy and Cameron treat it like it is the most serious competition in the world. The dramatic music. The dimmed lights. The intense eye contact. The slow-motion turns. They are acting like they are in a high-stakes thriller, not a late-night comedy sketch. And that contrast between the ridiculous activity and the serious presentation is what makes it hilarious. Cameron Diaz is the perfect guest for this game. She is a movie star. She has been in romantic comedies, action movies, dramas. She knows how to command a camera. She knows how to be intense. And she brought that energy to Slow Turn, Tiny Nod. She treated it like she was auditioning for an Oscar. Her turns were so slow you could see the individual muscles in her neck working. Her nods were so tiny you needed a magnifying glass T. Oh, see them. She was fully committed. She did not break character. She did not laugh. She was a stone-cold professional. Jimmy, on the other hand, was struggling. He wanted to be serious. He wanted to match Cameron's energy. But he could not help himself. He was laughing. He was making faces. His nods were gigantic compared to hers. He blamed it on the size of his head. The audience was not buying it. But that is what made it fun. Jimmy was the lovable underdog who could not quite measure up to the pro. And Cameron was the gracious winner who pretended that Jimmy's nods were acceptable. The third round was the best. Cameron's tiny sound. HM. It was so quiet you could barely hear it. The audience had to strain to listen. And then the nod. Perfection. Jimmy knew he was beaten. He did not even try to top it. He just conceded defeat and praised Cameron's performance. That is good sportsmanship. That is also self-preservation. Because there was no way he was going to beat that. This game is also a great example of why The Tonight Show works. Jimmy Fallon knows how to create simple, silly games that let his guests shine. You do not need complicated rules or expensive props. You just need two people willing to look ridiculous. And Cameron Diaz was more than willing. She turned her head so slowly that time seemed to stop. She made a sound so quiet that the audio team had to turn up the volume. She took the game seriously while also clearly having fun. That is the sweet spot. That is why she is a star. So here is my question to you in the comments. Could you beat Cameron Diaz at Slow Turn, Tiny Nod? And what is the tiniest sound you can make? Let me know. I read every single comment. As always, like,